most of the times we end up spending a lot of money on ladies' gowns than the suits that we wear as men.
Yeah.
That is where we start going wrong.
Yeah.
That is where we start not choosing on.
Yeah, the ladies' gown's expensive.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying that we have to compete with the ladies to make how expensive they're gonna spend, so we reciprocate the same on our side. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the same way you are so meticulous with them spending,
Yeah.
be meticulous on you also
Yeah.
spending and having something good for you, because it's not just her day, it's also your day.
Yeah.
And it is a one in a lifetime day.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Nairobi Gold Rush podcast. I'm Scott, your host, and we're interviewing leaders in the Nairobi community. We've got business leaders that we're talking to that have great stories about how they've grown their business and all the work that they're doing. So we've got a great guest for us today. We've got Nelson Mandela with us, who has a fashion company, I guess you would say.
Yeah, sure.
So welcome, Nelson, to the show.
Thank you so much, Scott.
And maybe to start with Nelson Mandela, that's a pretty big name. Maybe how'd you come about the name Nelson Mandela? Is that just
Really, that's quite of a bit of a challenge, but well, I think it's a name that I was given by my parents. I grew up knowing that I'm being called Nelson Mandela. But of course, I've vested interest into getting to know who is this person called Nelson Mandela, because everywhere I walked, everywhere I went to, people that I was relating with, people who had already known who Nelson Mandela was before me, told me that he was a great person. So I had to read, I had to do research and all that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, I figured he was a great man in South Africa. He really championed for people's rights and fought for liberation and democracy spaces and all that. But then later on, I asked my paps why I'm a father's boy, like I'm a daddy's boy. I was a very good friend of my father. So later on, I asked my father why he decided to choose that name, because my mom told me it was my father's decision. He told me he was a great fan of Nelson Mandela. And so he wanted he wanted one of his sons to be a reminder to him, constant reminder to him within the family of who Nelson Mandela was and how great he was.
oh, that's
Yeah,
really
that's
awesome.
basically that's how the name came along. So yeah.
And from what I understand, your business is in designing sort of men's suits and by creating men's suits. Is that correct?
Yeah, sure. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a creative designer, and I make suits. That is for sure. That's a business that I've been doing for almost a decade now. I major on bespoke tailored suits for gentlemen, for ladies, and also many other things that are also within the tailoring aspect. But then largely, I'm well known with the men's suit, classic men's suits.
Classic men's suits. All right.
Yes.
Well, maybe tell us how you go about this process, because I don't know much about the building of suits and everything. Are you designing? Are you creating, tailoring? Like, tell us the whole journey of what you're doing with the suit making process.
The suit making process really largely depends on the client in question, what they want and how they want it done. And some people want different things. Some people want something created from scratch where you put all your creativity into it. And with the help of AI technology and quite a number of advances and developments within the technological field. Some also prefer coming with what we call inspos, thanks to the help of apps like Pinterest. Yeah, but basically, this is what happens. When I have a client, the first thing that happens is breaking an ice, that is creating the communication that is going to be like fostering the whole process going forward. And then there comes the first meeting where the measurement taking, the selection of the fabric, and agreement on the design of the outfit takes place. Then, of course, there is another crucial part of it, which is payment, agreed on in terms of how much is this gonna cost and all that. And then after that, we now go into the oh, outfit creation process begins with drawing. We get to draw the outfit in question. in order to visualize, first of all, on papers before we actualize on the actual outfit and fabric, so that the client can also have a look of what he's expecting. And also, if they wanted it to be a surprise, then it means even if we have the sketch and all that kind of stuff, we'll keep it to ourselves, because it should be a surprise, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Revealing a sketch or revealing a drawing is basically revealing the outfit. So yeah, then thereafter we go on the craftsmanship bit of it. That is now the patterning of the outfit and everything. Yeah, and then it is now executed. It is tailored. But we have different types of tailoring. We have the machine tailoring, and then we have the bespoke tailoring. So it also again depends with what did the client want. If they wanted a bespoke tailoring, we go through the bespoke tailoring process. If they wanted a tailor-made, we go through the tailor-made process. Yeah.
And with the tailoring and the whole design process, are you doing everything yourself? Do you have a team of people that work with you to do each part? Like, how does that work?
You know, some old men sometimes said something that is quite, useful in our day-to-day life. That if you want to go far, walk with people, and if you want to go fast, walk alone. So
Yeah.
you know what? I want to go far, so I'm working with people. I have a team behind me,
Yeah.
qualified men and ladies who are working also behind me, and of course, everything is subjected to thorough quality assessment. And I also have a lot of engagement with them, and I partake a lot of things that are also going on there. I supervise, of course, everything that happens within I have a production room and a different office space. So everything that goes on in the production room goes on with my instructions and with my supervision and with my assurance. So yes, I do have a team behind me, because you know what? I have a big dream for my company. My company is called Logical City. That's the trading company. That's the brand name, but the trading company is called Logical Clothing on papers. I have a big dream for it. And if I have a big dream for it, there is no way I'm going to achieve
Yeah.
this big dream alone. I can't be the tailor.
Got to
I
have a
can't be
big
the
team.
CEO. Yeah, I got to have a big team behind me. Yeah. So I do have a big team working behind me and with me.
Okay, great. And then how does one learn to become a tailor here in Kenya, I guess? Is it going to those like technical training colleges? Is that the best place to find tailors, or is it something that's even more complicated for the type of work you're doing?
That's a good question. First of all, it depends. First, some people, it also depends with the passion and the area of interest. Someone like me, born and bred in the village,
Mhm.
I didn't know my area of, I didn't know my talent, and I didn't know my area of interest until too late, you know. But then now, when you start having flashbacks and picturing things, you get to understand that, okay, this is not something that just started yesterday. It started some time ago. But how do someone learn tailoring in Kenya? So first of all, if you're interested in getting to know how to be a tailor or being a designer, we have institutions that offers technical training services, and we also have our universities are also offering the same. We have Nairobi School of Fashion Design, Kenyatta University School of Fashion Design, and many others. Apart from that, there are also other private institutions that offers much more deeper, skill training services than even the universities, because the universities are well known for theoretical trainings. Because even my company alone, we have we have had almost more than 20 students to 30 students who normally come for what we call attachment. And it is during that attachment that we realize that actually they have been just having a lot of technical, physical, no, not technical, but then theoretical trainings
Yeah.
within the institutions. And then they come out, they're still half baked. They need a lot of technical and the actual skills training to impact into them. So yeah, one would need to sign up first of all. With it also depends with what they want.
Mhm.
You know, if they need to have a degree in fashion, some people just need to have that degree in fashion and then continue further their studies into maybe fashion law, maybe fashion trends, different things.
Yeah.
So it depends with what they. But if they want to use that their training in the field, then one would probably need to choose a path to take.
Yeah.
One, maybe technical institute would be there, maybe a university would be there for them, and maybe look for someone like me, a fashion house like me, to
Yeah.
come and
A good
train them for.
attachment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. one for attachment and two for just full training, you know.
Yeah, apprentice
Yes.
or something like that, where
Yeah.
they're staying with you the whole time and
Yes.
learning the
Learning the
details.
whole thing, going through the journey, following the process. Yes.
How many years would you say it takes to become like a master tailor? I don't know if that's what you call it, like the guys that are really doing the professional suits.
Wow. It depends with, pickability of individuals is also different.
Yeah,
That's for
the
sure.
skill.
This,
Yeah.
yeah, but then not a long time that much. Some people are so quick and fast to have it within a period of 8 years to 1 year.
Hmm.
No, sorry,
8 months.
sorry. 8 months to 1 year.
Yeah.
That's 8 months to 12 months. Some could also drag up to maybe 1.5 year.
Mhm.
Some could also go up to maybe a period of 2 years. But now, to master the art of tailoring and now being able to say that, you know what, I am courageous, I am confident, I am in the space whereby I can now handle any kind of outfit that comes my way. I mean that one, growth is continuous.
Yeah.
And things evolve and things come new each and every day, which are different from different aspects. So it's a learning that continues. So once you that would take you some time for sure. But then even if you're in that state where now you're confident, maybe probably something to do with 2.5 to 3 years of experience,
Yeah.
still you would need to learn and unlearn and
Oh.
be able to change before change changes you.
Okay, well, then when you're getting the fabrics and the materials for all these suits, are they easy to get here in Kenya? Are you having to import these from different places if a client has a very specific suit they want? How does that process work?
I will be very honest, I will be very honest. It's not easy to get them here in Kenya,
Yeah.
that's for sure. Okay, we do have a textile industry, a textile manufacturing company. But the truth is, it's not doing much. It's doing less. Most of the fabrics that are consumed here in Kenya today are imported. Some of them are coming from China. Most of them are coming from China.
Okay.
Some of them are coming from Europe. Some of them are coming from Turkey,
Okay.
and some of them are coming from India.
Yeah.
So it all depends. So yes, getting fabrics is not as easy as it should be. We're still having a lot of challenges with that. And yeah, that is one of the things that we are kind of late trying to see if at all we can tap and knock the right offices and doors and maybe speak to the right ears to help us achieve these things. But
Yeah.
we have a domicile textile industry.
Yeah. And so the fabrics you're getting here locally, they're just maybe not good quality or they're just not produced enough, is what you say?
I would say both,
Yeah.
but now rumor has it, again, this is a rumor, so I should not be hanged for this. Rumor has it that our good quality fabrics are exported and the low quality fabrics remain behind
Oh, okay.
for the local consumptions. But the thing is this, I think it is also our mandate and duty and responsibility as fashion designers to communicate this to the ears of our consumers. The consumers that we have in the larger great of Africa, not just Kenya, Nairobi to be specific, they have this tendency of feeling like if it is not from abroad, then it is not of good quality.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of now, uh, um, you know, how would I put this? Having it in us that even if it is a locally available and a locally made fabric, it could still be of quality and it would still give something of substance.
Yeah.
That is also something that we need to communicate and we need to agree on. It's a challenge that is there and we need to address it here.
And so when you have somebody come to you and they want like a really fancy suit, they want something really nice, kind of walk me through that process. Like where are you going to get the fabric from? How are you kind of talked a little bit about the whole tailoring process, but are you going to go to Italy or to China to get some like really good fabric you would say, or?
Luckily enough, the textile industry in Kenya is I would say if it was a government, it's just like a government, by the way.
Yeah.
If it was a government, it has sectors, it has departments. So as tailors and fashion designers and tailors and any other player in the industry, there are key roles that we play. So luckily for us, we have people who specifically major on bringing fabrics.
So
You
it's
know,
like a
so they are like fabric distributors of companies that are
Okay.
located outside.
nice.
You
Okay.
know, so some of them are in Nairobi textile area, some of them around River Road, some of them now it depends with the quality that you want to go for.
Sure.
Some of them are outside town, Village Market, Westlands, Riverside. It depends. They're scattered within the city. So yeah, what happens is, again, you mentioned a fancy suit. So you know, when you talk of fancy,
Mhm.
then you go fancy.
Yeah.
It means we're talking about an occasional suit. We're talking about an event suit. We're
Yeah,
talking about
something
a red carpet suit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, those suits that turn heads.
Mhm.
Those suits that in US they are largely worn during what events like Super Bowl, Met
Yeah,
Gala,
award
such
ceremonies.
awards, such kind of ceremonies.
Yeah.
So these are suits that, of course, the fabrics are available.
Mhm.
I think that is the main question that I asked. The fabrics are available because luckily we have people who specifically bring they major on bringing fabrics from abroad. They act as the distributors. They are the link between us, the major distributors from outside. But to some extent, there's some fabrics that we import ourselves. You don't have to literally go up to Italy or maybe the Europe part of it or maybe India or anything.
Yeah.
We establish contacts with the fabric manufacturers outside, and then we now get to order. Thanks to technology, we can order online and all that.
Oh, nice.
The procurement process of that is well seamless thanks to the online sector and the technology that we have.
So basically, any type of suit you want, the fabric's available. It just how much
That's
you're
for
willing
sure.
to pay for it, I guess.
That's for sure. It all depends on how much you pay for it. Thanks for
Yeah.
mentioning. How deep you're gonna go into your pocket.
Yeah.
But the fabrics are available.
And I usually notice this that the really expensive suits, they can be super expensive, right? And there's other suits that are more normal priced or more accessible. What's the difference in these expensive suits? Is it the fabric? Is it the time, like the hand stitching that you're going to put into it? Like what makes the difference between a really high dollar suit or high Kenya shilling suit compared to a low or lower end?
Now, everything that you have mentioned
Mhm.
makes the difference
Yeah.
count. Number one, the quality of the fabric that is being used on a specific suit matters.
Yeah.
You know. Number two, the design of the suit matters. Number three, the color of the suit matters. Number four, the the type of tailoring that you want to be used on your specific garment or outfit matters. Number three, the details of the suit also matters. So let me break them down. So when we talk of fabrics quality, we have cotton fabrics, we have raw silk, we have linen fabrics, we have cashmere fabrics, we have gems harding fabrics, we have woolen fabrics. You know, these are fabrics that are completely different in terms of their texture, thread count, moisturization, you know, how they combat well with the weather, how they blend, how they are warm, how they are light, how they are heavy. Now, you don't expect a merino wool Super 80 to cost the same amount with a merino wool Super 210.
Yeah.
Definitely the Super 210 is much more higher than the Super 80. And you don't expect merino wool Super 210 to cost the same amount with a cashmere fabric.
Yeah.
A cashmere fabric will definitely be on the higher side.
Yeah, high end. Yeah.
Yeah, on the high end. Again, now we come back to the design. There are certain designs that are quite complex. You know, they take a lot of time to create. They take a lot of skills to put in place. They take a lot of accessories and all that. And talking of accessories also depends with the kind of tailor you have gone to. Some tailors would follow shortcuts and not use all the accessories that are required to be used on an outfit, and then definitely that will speak on the quality of the outfit at the end of the day. And some of them will also follow the due diligence and do everything as per the expectation of a proper making of a suit. Come to the details. Normal suits will not cost the same with suits with specifications. Some suits needs to be having even demarcations of crafted for so and so on such a date. Let's say, for example, you're having a wedding. Like right now, I'm working on a piece that is quite magical. Like I would say it's sentimental to me I try as much as possible to make an outfit so much sentimental to me, so that it can become sentimental to the wearer. You
Nice.
get, you have to feel like, I love making outfits with passion, that I would be like, even if I was the person to go wear this outfit, I would feel the pride in it, the value in it. It's whole worth in terms of the journey, the details, and all that kind of stuff. It's a wedding coming up in June. So this is a suit that is going to then have demarcations. So and so weds so and so. Let's say, for example, if it was me wedding, and then I was wedding a lady called Fiona, I would be like, Fiona weds Nelson.
Yeah,
Which date?
where do you put that? On the inside, the outside?
Inside, of course.
So you could open. I was imagining
Yeah.
something like a tattoo on the back or something.
Yeah, on the inside
And
part
so,
of it,
yeah,
such
very
that
special.
in a very strategic position, during weddings, after the exchange of vows, there is this test of, do you know where your husband should be putting his checks and everything? So, when you go to open the jacket, and you're putting in that envelope, yeah?
Yeah.
So that part that you're supposed to put in the envelope, that is the part where the writings, the brandings
Nice.
are done. Fiona weds Nelson. Which date? 25th of June.
Mhm.
Okay, if you like, you can go further and do the time. And then on the cuff, on the sleeve cuff of the shirt, you can write Mr. Nelson, at least just to, spike it up.
Yeah.
Those are details. On the collar, at the lapel part, felt part of the collar of the jacket, you can also write the name there, Mr. So and so.
Yeah.
Those are details. Someone can even decide that they want a functional button, such that, well, maybe let's say it's a jacket that he wants to use both for official duty and casual duties. He's a golfer, like he plays golf. He wants to play golf with his jacket without removing it. So what does that mean? It simply means that you're gonna give him a functional button, a jacket that he can literally
Kind of roll your
unbutton,
sleeve or
undo, and then
unbutton.
roll it up.
Yeah.
Those kind of things add on to the details.
And so that's what each of those details
Yes,
adds a little bit to the price.
yes, of
depending.
course. Buttons. Somebody can even just come and tell you, you know what, Nelson, me, I want specific buttons. I want pure golden. I want pure silver. I want pure metal. I want a button with my initials, the initial names. So such kind of things add on to the price. Again, the time. We have a specific time that a normal outfit should take. So if you want your outfit to take a time that is not to the specified time frame, and it's shorter, yeah, there is a fee that you have to add on
Rush
it.
order fee. Yeah.
Yes, express order fee. It's normally 25% of the total amount charged initially. Yeah.
Well, tell us what the most extravagant or expensive suits you've had to design, I guess.
I've
Do the
had
same
to
thing.
design a suit worth 350,000 Kenya shillings for one of the most celebrated businessman around town. I wouldn't want to mention their name.
But a 350K.
Yeah, it's a suit that took me time, took a lot of me. I had to get myself involved in it, and the fabric was not locally available. We had to import the fabric, and it had a lot of the details, the functional buttons, things, whatnot.
Are these one of these like a cashmere or some kind of
Yeah,
crazy
that was a
fabric?
cashmere. That
Yeah.
was a cashmere. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And um, I guess what's sort of the price range of suits that you deal in? I mean,
My catalog runs from in Kenya shillings rating, 25,000 Kenya shillings, all the way up to 570,000 Kenya shillings.
yeah, okay.
So in between there are a lot of things.
You can get anything you
You
want.
can get anything you want. You can get any piece you want.
Yeah.
But I also have other outfits that do not basically come out like suits. We have tunic sets like the one I'm having on right
Yeah.
now. We have counter suits. We have linen outfits, like just a full linen pant and a full linen top. We have different outfits that somebody can use. We have summer wears. Those ones do not really, rate like the suits.
Sure.
They are in between 15,000 to 20,000.
Yeah. I imagine the
But
suits
again,
are
depending,
usually the most expensive.
a linen would not really cost 20,000. A
Yeah.
linen would be something completely different. Again, depending on the quality of the linen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, tell me a little bit more about it because I am not super familiar with suits. I mean, I wear them,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't consider myself the Met Gala
kind
fashionista,
of a person.
you know.
Yeah.
So tell us what's the difference? I hear these things about the English suits and the Italian suits and different styles. Maybe you could tell us about the different styles of suits and when
Yeah,
you
you
actually have each type.
it's largely on the fitting
Yeah.
and the sizes. Like Italian suits are well known to be slim fits.
Uh-huh.
English suits are well known to be classic fittings.
Yeah.
And currently there is also another outbreak of the Turkish suits in the market and the Chinese suits in the market.
Yeah.
Those ones, they hang in between there.
Somewhere in between. So
Yeah, somewhere in
like
between.
a guy like me who's kind of big chested, you know, maybe not an Italian suit.
Yep. Speaking of this type of suits, Italian and English,
Mhm.
largely known as Britain or British
British suit.
suits, yeah. They largely apply on ready-to-wear suits,
Uh-huh.
but not tailor-made suits.
Sure.
Because when it's tailor-made, when it's now bespoke suits, it means that the fitting as per your measurements,
So you get
as
kind
per
of
the measurements that you've been taken. So that simply means that I get to measure you. I get to take your measurements, your shoulder, sleeves, bust, waist, biceps, waist of the trouser, everything, every part, like made to your measurement and also made to your liking.
Yeah.
Something with which, if you don't put it on, no one probably is not going to put it on, because getting someone of your specific measurements almost equivalent with yours is not that easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's when I'm buying a suit, I usually just buy the one off the rack, you know, the ready-made one.
The ready-made ones.
Yeah, I haven't quite had the pocketbook for the tailor-made suit.
Yeah.
So, and usually it's always something's not quite right. It's usually okay, but
Yeah.
you know, they'll usually
You got to have a
adjust.
problem somewhere. You have to have adjustments
Yeah.
done left, right, center. This is the thing. Actually, it's good you mentioned that. You know, it is interesting. It is good for people to know that ready-made suits are made with imaginations and assumptions.
Yeah.
That there is someone somewhere called Nelson who would be having bust 38, 39.
Yeah.
But now you know you can get my bust correct, but you will not get my waist of the trouser correct. You know, so there are things that are made out of assumptions and they are made out of mass production.
Yeah. The average, I guess.
The average. A massively produced thing will never be as the same as a customized produced product.
Yeah.
They will always be completely different. For example, this is simple. Even chapati. You know chapati?
Yeah.
Yeah. So chapati is a very, back then we used to value chapati a lot. It used to have value, you know. It is something that we were relating with during December holidays and Christmas. But currently chapati is everywhere. Chapati is one food that when you go along the road and then you find someone who is making it in bulk, the quality of that chapati will not be the same with the one that you will now be going to eat in your house that has been made with some specifications. You understand?
Sure.
Basically, that is the same way suits are also behaving.
Yeah.
Ones that are tailor-made or mass-produced are not the same with ones that are bespoke, customized.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. And I guess it's quite a process then to go through and get everything tailor-made, measure your biceps, and measure your
Maybe you should pay a visit and have an experience.
I'll have to check it out and see for sure.
Yeah.
It's always something that's good to have. And what would you recommend for guys? I mean, I guess it varies on the age of the man.
Yeah.
But what are you seeing people buy these days? Every men needs to have in their closet or their wardrobe.
One thing that is so unique is that classic suits never go away.
Yeah.
Old money, that is.
The old money type.
Old money type of suit. That is a suit. Again, another thing, maybe just to mention, there is nothing new under the sun. All that we are doing, all that we are implicating, all that we are just kind of diverting. We are just coming out to be a little bit more creative, to twist things, to maybe fit different way and differently and come off differently. But then we are doing exact things that people had done before. So there is nothing new under the sun. But then one thing that is so static is the normal classic suit.
Yeah.
It never changes.
And you're talking about like the maybe standard black suit.
Of course.
Just a standard style.
Of course. That one never changes. Maybe somebody would have a different opinion so far as how they want their double-breasted to be, but it is still double-breasted. I mean, it is just that you're playing with its creativity and all that kind of stuff. Someone would have a different preference so far as how they want their turn up to be like my turn up. This one is the smallest turn up that I have.
Yeah.
You know, someone would have a different opinion on how they want their full lengths to be, all those kind of things. But then one thing that remains constant, classic suits, constant.
Yeah.
So that is something that is here to stay, here with us, and maybe in the future we can just maybe sprout and dig in and be creative a little bit, but then it will always stand.
Yeah.
Old money.
I noticed with the U.S. presidents, they always have a lot of controversy when they wear the wrong suit. So I've seen recently Donald Trump, he wore the the navy suit, and everybody else was wearing the black suit.
Actually, it's not just Donald Trump alone.
Yeah.
Look at, I would say, 5 significant world leaders. Look at the former president of the United States of America, Barack Obama, though he is a versatile kind of a person. He's a stylish kind of a person. Off the record, he would rock even a burgundy, light gray, beige tan, whichever color that comes his way. He would rock it and it would really come out stunning. But in his time of tenure in office, people would even confuse that he only has 3 suits. That was dark navy blue, that was black, that was dark gray. Those are the most well-known corporate power suits.
Exactly.
Hardly would he have pinstripe. Pinstripe suits are well known for boardroom and business people, of course, for CEOs, people who attend different diverse.
What is it, the pinstripes that go for the boardroom? Do you know what?
It's a symbol of power. It's a suit
power symbol.
Yeah, it's a suit that speaks for you before you speak. It introduces you. You get into a room and someone already seeing you before you see them.
Yeah.
You don't need the much you're gonna do in terms of you introducing yourself is just to emphasize on your name and what you do. But then the suit had already introduced you to these people.
Nice.
That's a pinstripe for you. You come to Donald Trump, the same. You go to Joe Biden, the same. You go to the president of China, the same. You go to Putin, the same.
They have the same
style, black,
gray,
navy blue, dark gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a big controversy when Barack Obama was in the presidency because one time he wore a tan suit, and everybody was saying, "Oh my gosh, this is not professional. He can't wear the tan suit."
He was just being himself.
Yeah, just being more relaxed and more.
Yeah. Barack is someone who is like, he's lively. He loves style. He loves designs. I think, yeah, that was it.
Yeah. So I guess what you'd say then, to kind of be the, a powerful person, you kind of have the standard black suit, navy suit, dark gray suit. And then if you really want to like spice it up a little bit, you do the pinstripe.
The best example is our current president, William Samoei Ruto. I believe his wardrobe is quite full of stylish outfits.
Yeah.
He currently we know him for being the greatest champion and ambassador of Kaunda suits. That's something off the records when it comes to official wear of a presidential statue or person within the office of the president. So I think it also matters, apart from being a president, it also matters who you are. You don't lose your personality just because you're a president. And I think fashion is one of the most diverse things. There is no life without fashion. Fashion is really playing a key integral position into a lot of things. It influences a lot. It influences how we eat, how we talk, how we relate with people, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So fashion is something that should be emulated by everyone, notwithstanding their positions and their personalities in the society.
Sure. Well, what can young guys do to kind of elevate their fashion more to get into those boardroom positions? And
I think simple. People should just remember that the Bible, is it the Bible or who talked about it? But even in our pre-colonial periods, they came to do what? To do away with ignorance. So first of all, people should stop being ignorant about fashion. They should dig more information and do research about it. But that is not what I wanted to say. I think after food, shelter, clothing is also there.
Yeah.
And when you mention clothing, fashion is all about clothing. So people should just know that it's also something that can also has been commercialized by many people.
Sure.
Also improving lives, empowering young people, getting them off drugs, getting them off being lazy, getting them off other different types of criminal activities, and also offering them another second chance of employment other than other than um, other than just being idle. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, maybe a question I have for you is, I like to wear suits and dress these nice things, but I work in the tech industry.
Mhm.
And the tech guys are not always known for being like the most fashionable, at least across the world. I don't know, in Kenya, maybe it's okay, but in the US, you think like the dirty t-shirt,
The jeans
the
and the
jeans, and
khaki
just,
and your suit
haven't washed their face,
until you're called in some boardroom to go and present
Yeah.
or pitch for an idea that you have, maybe an innovation that you have made. So, yeah, every man needs to have at least a pair of 5 to 6 suits in their wardrobe, just for anything. A friend can invite you abruptly for a wedding party. A friend can invite you abruptly for a very serious meeting. You can also be invited because tech people are innovative people. They're people that are always on the keyboard. They are working about what is next, what is going to come next. Not now, today we are dealing with AI, and AI is having different versions of it.
Yeah.
People evolve, people develop them on a daily basis.
Right.
So you would have those boardroom meetings. You'd have those corporate invites. You'd have those. This is the thing. However much you're smart,
Yeah.
people will always address you the way you dress yourself.
Yeah.
And the image, the first impression is very important. You might be having a very brilliant thing to present. I mean, I know that it is not supposed to, humanly, it's not supposed to be so, but that is the reality. This is the reality we're dealing with. We are not living in some utopia kind of world. It's just so much common, that it's just so much humane. Like, I mean, people just behave like that.
Yeah.
That is the human culture bit of it. Like, the package of a thing depends a lot with how you're going to relate with it.
Yeah.
For example, if you're to come to my office today and then you find me not well arranged, things are not packaged, the office is not looking tidy enough, I do not even have a presentable way of telling you what I'm selling, you'd probably just leave and tell me you will get back and I will never hear from you.
Sure.
That's the same way, if I was to call you up for like, I need to hear an idea that you have that is going to offer me a solution in the tech sector, and then you show up with some, khaki that is even not well washed, the t-shirt and the bag that you're having your laptop with is even torn, your shoes is not brushed, it's not cleaned. I'll just be like, this guy doesn't even know what he's going to tell me. So first impression matters a lot.
Yeah.
And that is where now fashion comes in. So no matter how smart you are, if you can't package yourself as well, as smart as the idea that you have, you might have it difficult in the industry.
Yeah. But I think I always struggle with knowing the appropriate thing to wear in my business, because I'm the CTO of my company, so I'm at the boardroom level, I guess you would say, but it's in the tech industry. I've never seen my boss wear a suit. I've never seen any of the bosses I have been around wear a suit. Barely even a button shirt, I mean, yeah, people dress professionally, work professionally, but
Let me give you an interesting story about this thing of the boss not wearing a suit and all that kind of stuff. That is why they say, I think, again, it is also something that is largely used in the Christianity world, that you should follow what the preachers tell you and you should not do what they do. Like, do as I say, but not as I do.
Yeah.
I think it is a normal phrase. I have a cousin. He used to work for a Mohindi guy here in town, CBD. He used to wear suits from Monday to Saturday, because Sundays were his church days, and he was working till Saturdays. He's an accountant by profession, and I think today is an auditor. by profession, but what he is doing, his role and position in the company, he's working in Congo for another guy.
Yeah.
So when his boss business started going down, he was the only person who was wearing suits in that company, because since it was not a very high profile corporate company, people could go there with shorts, sweatpants,
Yeah,
jeans,
exactly.
khakis, and all that kind of stuff. But for him, he kept on putting on suits.
Yeah.
And time came when this guy was now closing down his company in Kenya,
Yeah.
but then expanding his company in Congo,
Yeah.
because he felt like Congo was giving him lots of profits than the
Sure.
Kenyan one. The only one of the top reasons as to why this guy hired my cousin and fired the rest was because he said Daniel can represent me in a meeting in Joburg,
Yeah.
and you all cannot.
These other guys.
Because you are all behaving like me,
Yeah.
and I am your boss. And
Yeah.
I am your boss, So he got that opportunity. He went to Congo, and it has been a life-changing opportunity. And it was almost like not even triple the salary that he was earning over here.
Yeah.
So sometimes you might think that my boss is not cutting his hair.
Yeah.
Let me also not cut my hair
Yeah.
and have my afro and all that kind of stuff. You may never know. Maybe the boss is not cutting his hair to put his people in a test
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. I always worry about it because you almost don't want to be that guy. Let's say you're going to a barbecue, eating choma, you come in a suit. Everybody says, "Now who's this guy here? Who does he think he is? He's got the fancy watch. He's got everything." I mean, and I know people don't really. Well, maybe they do. I don't
You
really
can
judge
keep it.
people, but
You can keep it toned down.
yeah,
You don't have to. The only point, and I think this one is largely not well known by most people. The only point where now suits becomes too much serious is when you have to incorporate a tie each and every time.
yeah.
You
So
know,
what's your thought? Tie, no tie? What's
if you're a tech guy and you still want to look corporate, approachable, presentable, and all that kind of stuff, you don't have to do a tie.
yeah.
Unless you having some high profile meeting that you have to really, show up and
Maybe
represent.
like a sports coat or a
Yeah,
blazer or
yeah.
something, kind of more
Yes. That one, at
more
least you can
relaxed.
incorporate a tie. And then again, you could be appearing semi-official. You can do smart casual. You can always have jackets around you.
Yeah,
Maybe a jacket, an official shirt with a khaki, with a jeans,
yeah,
with some good shoes.
yeah,
That will also give you a completely different look from the rest of your colleagues who are just having, at the end of the day, we go back to packaging. How
yeah,
you package yourself matters a lot. Just the same way when you go to a supermarket or a store,
yeah,
you want the good that you're going to buy to be well packaged.
yeah,
That is the same way you should also package yourself well.
yeah,
And even biblically, it is said cleanliness is next to godliness, meaning God also expect people to package themselves well when they are going to his presence, Yeah.
yeah. So it's always better to be a little bit more fancy, a little bit more extra dressed, I guess, just to be
See,
safe.
no, you don't have to you don't have to be extra. You just, stay within the course, stay within the limits, and you're
Yeah,
good to go.
okay.
Yeah.
It's always interesting. I mean, and people today dress just so differently. I know my grandfather's age, it was you always had to wear a suit
Yeah.
everywhere, to church, to work.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas. We have the cowboy hats. You'd have
Uh-huh.
the suit with the cowboy hat, maybe.
The
It was
cowboy hat, were they fans of country, or your grandpa was an artist?
no, it's just I think that's just what people would wear. Maybe even just people used to wear hats back in those times, the 1920s, the 1930s, and they got used to
Yeah.
wearing these.
Yeah.
They may not even always cowboy hats. Sometimes cowboy hats. Sometimes those old hats that people used to wear. I
The
don't know what they
fedora,
call them.
like
Yeah, fedora type. Yeah, those old type of hats. So
the Peaky Blinder likes.
yeah, exactly. And so people would always wear these. I mean, just every day they had to wear the hat. They had to wear the suit.
Yeah.
Very very fancy. And
Yeah.
I came from the church that was very conservative, and there would always be fights about. My grandfather would be watching somebody come into church. Oh, now they have jeans on in church. How can they even be worshiping here? This one has shorts. Oh gosh, I can't sit next to them
Uh-huh.
because they have the shorts on. And became a big
Yeah.
deal in the church I was
Yeah.
growing up in, so it was quite crazy.
Uh,
And then it became funny because you know I was growing up, and you'd wear a suit to maybe a wedding or special event. But my age, we didn't really wear suits like that much. It was more of a special occasion thing. And when I graduated from high school, my grandfather, he came and he said, well, I'm going to take you and I'm going to buy you a suit for your graduation of high school. And we go into this store where they sell the suits. My grandfather's very loud. He came in and he started yelling. He said, I've got a young man here and I need to buy him a leisure suit. I don't know, you know, the leisure suit, or they call it safari suit here.
Okay. This one with
The bright colors, the orange, the blue,
and patched pockets.
yeah, those
Four pockets
those
on
ones from the
the front
1970s,
side.
basically.
Yeah.
And this was in the late 90s, and so he came and said, "Oh, he told the whole story. I'm gonna buy this man a leisure suit." They didn't sell these at this time. They hadn't sold these from the 1970s. So the man who owned the store was very confused, and he came up and he started telling my grandfather. He said, "Sir, you know, we don't really sell those type of suits. We sell the traditional suit. We don't sell leisure suit. We don't sell we call them leisure suit." And he said, no, he started shouting at them, no, I know I saw them here. I know you sell them. And I'm getting this man a leisure suit. He's got to have one to go out to the world. And they had this big confusion. The whole store was coming to look at me. Why is this guy trying to buy a leisure suit? And it turned out my grandfather was just confused. He wanted to buy me like jogging clothes, like that you would go for exercising. And he got, because he meant leisure, like you're laying around the house. And he got
like
the
you're
terms
gonna go
confused.
for a yoga the next day.
Yeah, go for yoga the next day or something. So because we had these suits that you used to wear for jogging, like I don't know, the jogging suit or something, you know. So it was very, very crazy. Well, how did you get into how'd you get excited about fashion and clothing? Tell us about your background and how that all came to be.
This has been a journey. So as I said earlier, I grew up in an environment where I was not able to identify my potentials way early as I was growing. And like you saw me walk here with my son, and like him, I think he might be advantaged of the fact that he could be in a position to know his capabilities, talents, and potentials at a younger age. For me, I came into reality check with my potentials while in college. But then now having flashbacks, you get to see that this is something that has been in you all the way up, where as you are growing up. I'm from a family of 7. I think this is going to be a far-fetched a little bit, but then allow me, because you said a background. From a family of 7, so education was quite of a bit of a challenge. I'm born and bred from a tiny village called Amoso. Amoso is in a county called Migori and a small constituency called Uri.
Small village
Yes,
setting, yeah.
yes, yeah. From Nyanza region. So, in such villages, up to today, I can tell you for sure that people still grow up to maybe the age of 18 when they go to universities, and then they realize that they're even doing courses that they're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
The level of exposure is not yet somewhere at the level where it's expected, or maybe some other people, maybe in Nairobi or in other counties, are getting it. So when I came to Nairobi in 2013, after I was done with my secondary level of education, I came to hustle. I didn't come to do fashion. I came to hustle just like any other young man. Then I joined college. So in school I used to study supply chain management. That's largely known as procurement, higher diploma level. So then this is where now my love for fashion started regrowing, because all along it was there. Back in school, I could be told by my peers, that the ones we were in school with, that no one could step on my shoes. I used to iron my uniforms. I was the cleanest student in school. I got awards on that quite a number of times. And these were not speaking enough to what it really entails, because no one back then in that era, it's not very, I'm not very old, but then back then in the village, no one knew anything to call called fashion and design.
Yeah.
We knew people were tailors, and most tailors were doing repair works in our
You
villages.
tear your trousers. They
Yeah,
just do
yeah,
a
when it's torn,
put a patch
it's a
on it.
jeans, yeah, a patch on it, and all. Oh, so you relate?
Yeah.
So you also had patches on your
Yeah,
pants.
yeah, of course, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
we wanted to buy shorts as a child, we would take the jeans and we would just cut the jeans.
And then have a different thing.
Yeah, now you have shorts because instead of buy new shorts, you just use the old jeans and you cut them.
Basically, that is what tailors were known
Yeah.
for, you know. So when I came to college and I came to Nairobi, I got some casual job that was a monthly basis. We would call it 8 to 7, and 8 to 9. Is it 9 to 5? Sorry,
9 to 5.
you would call it 9 to 5. So yeah, as I joined college now, I could go to different places, and we would call them sites or chwams in our Sheng, our local language, chwams, and get some khakis, you know. And my love for suit also was quite evident. I could go to the local tailors where I used to stay. I used to stay in some ghetto place called Kayole, and I would tailor suits, you know, with them at very affordable prices. But then they were not affordable at that time because you know, value of money also changes with time.
Sure.
So coming to class, surprisingly, most of my colleagues, my classmates could ask me, "Where did you get that khaki? Where did you get that pant? Where did you get that shirt? Where did you get that? Where did you get that?" Then I was like, okay, this could be a business opportunity. Then now I vested interest into doing more research about fashion and design. So having known what it was and what it could take me to do, I first of all dedicated myself into finishing this diploma course that I was doing, supply chain management, because now this one was at the center stage and at the heart of my mother. So I'm like, let me finish this course, have this certificate delivered to my mother, then come back and do something else for me.
Sure.
You know. So before I could finish college, I lost my job, and then life completely turned upside down. And I really went through a lot in terms of, I don't know, I didn't know yet. You know, some people go through depression without knowing they have gone through depression. So I didn't know yet, but I remember one thing is that I spent almost like 3 days without having any meal and stepping outside the house within the plot where I was living, and my neighbor got worried, and I only got out because I was nose bleeding, so I was going to wash my nose at the nearby borehole. The plot had a borehole. So I remember also I had 200 shillings in my M-Pesa account, and I called my mom to ask her for money. My rent then was 3,000 Kenya shillings. I called my mom to ask her for money, and she sent me 300 shillings. So in total, I had
At 500.
500 Kenya shillings, you know.
And the rent's 3,000.
And the rent is 3,000, and we almost headed to the end month, and I don't have fare to school. Uh, I had been walking from town to Kayole most of the times, you know. You'd now alternate, you'd now choose what to do today. Like if you're to take a mat to school or a mat back home.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Not
it was
both.
yeah, or not both. Sometimes it was easy to take a mat to school and walk back home than taking a mat back home and walking to school.
And how far is that you're walking? Like 1, 2 hours?
Damn.
Yeah.
CBD to Kayole, you know.
So it's far.
It's far, you know. The road is also meandering and all that. I think it used to take me almost close to 3.5 to 4 hours,
Yeah.
depending on the speed again.
Yeah.
But sometimes I could even add up with running, you know.
Sure.
Being someone who grew up in the village, and we used to run a lot long distances when when we could be sent to shopping centers. So yeah, you know,
You have to be very dedicated.
for sure on road with vehicles and all that. So with this 500 shillings, I had a very big conundrum here. And the biggest conundrum to solve was, what next after this 500? How is life going to be?
Yeah.
How am I going to survive?
Sure.
So this marked the journey of my clothing brand, the 500 shillings. My elder brother had taken me to a place called Gikomba at some point. He was going to look for certain things. He had been sent by my uncle, a maternal uncle,
Yeah.
to go and check certain stuffs. He used to sell Mutumba outfits.
Yeah.
So we went with him to Gikomba. And I saw a few things. I saw shoes. I saw many things. Gikomba is a place that has a lot of things,
Yeah.
you know. My center stage, my focus was on selling ladies' shoes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't intend to stop selling the ladies' shoes, though I knew where I wanted to end. So I decided one day, the following day, after my mom sent me this money and I washed, after that ordeal when I left my house for the first time to wash my nose and I was nose bleeding and all that. So the following day, I woke up very early in the morning and my intention was to walk up to Gikomba all the way from Kayole. And now I told you I used to tailor suits within the you know, I don't know whether to call them estate or what, within the estate there.
Yeah.
So the conductors had already profiled me as a suit guy.
Yeah.
Going to school, you know. And when I was still having that my casual job, I was just living as a decent young man who still has some small coin to spend on him. Okay. So there's this one conductor who saw me and was like, quote unquote in Kiswahili, jamaa wa masuti, leo unatembea. Then he told me, jump on here. You be one of our conductors today.
Yeah.
So I hanged on the matatu coming to town. Luckily for me, when we got to some place there was traffic. So they had to divert and then take a different route. And the route they took was a route that was leading to Gikomba, where I was going.
Yeah, exactly where you wanted to be.
Yes. So then there was a guy at Gikomba called John. He's a Kamba. Up to today, I will never forget his name. This is like almost like how many years? This is like 8 years now, and I will not forget about that.
Sure.
So John, I got a shoes, 6.5 in size, and 3 inches. It was a high heel,
High heel, yeah.
high heel shoe, dark brown, with 3 inches. The length of the heel bottom.
Yeah, those
was
are the big ones. Yeah.
Yes, was 3 inches, and it had no dent. Okay, I got these shoes at 250 shillings, and I sold these shoes at 4,500 shillings.
Wow. How did you do that? What's the trick there?
This is the thing. Number one, no matter what you are selling, no matter what you're selling, the market will always give you what you ask of it. So understanding your clientele, the niche of your clientele niche, let me put it that way so that
Sure.
it can make some grammatical sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Understanding your niche of clientele is very important.
Sure.
And it is not about overpricing or anything.
Sure.
It was understanding the value. Sometimes people that sell these things do not know the value of the things they're selling.
Sure.
You know, for example, this watch today, this is a Casio watch,
Yeah.
an original Casio.
Yeah.
There are very many counterfeit Casios out there.
You're sure it's a real one.
Yeah. So, you know, I would give you, let's say, for example, those people who snatch things from people on the road.
Yeah.
You know, they would maybe get me somewhere, snatch this watch from me at a gunpoint, take my phone and all that. And they would end up selling this watch at maybe 250 shillings or 500 shillings,
Exactly.
when this watch is even worth more than that.
Yeah, you can find these guys that are selling those things they've robbed from people. Yeah.
Yeah.
For very cheap
So
price.
it's all about understanding who is your client.
Yeah.
And where are you selling the product that you have?
Yeah.
And how well have you packaged the product?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. No, it's true. I mean, and there's a lot of differentiated pricing for sure.
Yes.
Particularly in clothes, I think.
Yes.
You know, I'm American. I come from Texas.
Yes.
There's a lot of differential pricing. When they see that an American walk in,
Yes.
the pricing tends to double, I think.
A little bit.
Well, what I do, let's say there's something I want to buy, maybe at a place, not like the standard shops, but like, you go to a place and I'll send somebody else. I'll send a Kenyan for me. So I'll send the Kenyan into the shop and say, okay, I'm looking for this shirt or this, whatever it is we're buying.
Yeah.
And so they come in and they say, okay, what's the price? And they'll tell the Kenyan guy 2,000 shillings.
Is
Then
it?
of course says, okay, I'm going to consult with my friend. Then he
Uh-huh.
brings me in. Then the shop owner's like, oh man,
You could have told
you
me
could have
earlier.
told me about this. But I learned
Funny.
very early being that I had to do that or I was paying double the price. So if I
Funny.
wanted to cut my price in half.
That's quite unfortunate,
Yeah.
but funny. Funny in
Yeah.
the sense that that is it's a funny behavior, but quite unfortunate. I still hold to the thought that integrity and ethical behavior should still speak loud
Yeah.
in whichever sector and whichever business someone is doing and all that kind of stuff. So fast forward, I bought the shoes and sold it.
Yeah.
The wearer went to some event, small weekend event, where other friends were.
Sure.
And another friend spotted this shoe on her.
Yeah.
And she asked, where did you get that shoes from? She was like, the other person, the friend also knows me. And she told the friend that, oh, Nelson has not given you the news. He sells shoes,
Oh.
good ones. Yeah. How much was that? I think she blotted the price.
Yeah.
I don't know to how much, but it was to my advantage. And it
Yeah.
went out
These are 4,000.
yeah. She bought it from me at 4,500, but I think she must have said something like 6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the friend called me. They're related, and I will evade their name for some reasons. They're related. The friend called me and asked me to get her the same shoes. Apparently, they're doing the same shoe size. So again, where did I go to? Gikomba.
Yeah.
To who?
The same guy.
John.
Yeah.
Same guy. John told me, my friend, you are late. I wish you could have carried it the other day. It was there, but some guy has taken it. Where do you come from? I told him, Kayole. Okay, there's a place called Mutindwa. Do you know Mutindwa? Yes. There's a guy there called Mutinda. Okay? Here is his number. He sells there, and it normally takes from me at wholesale price. So then I went back to Mutindwa to meet the guy called Mutinda. And Mutinda sold me the shoes. And since I know the price that John sells the shoes,
Yeah.
so I talked to Mutinda so well, and Mutinda gave me the shoes at 300 shillings.
Yeah. So you had to pay like 250 before you get 300.
So I topped up 50 shillings,
Yeah.
so it's now 300 shillings. And I promised him if I sell it well, I would go back and at least give him another stipend.
Yeah.
I sold that other shoes at 6,500 shillings
Nice.
to the friend, and I have 11,000. So the question is, I asked myself, I am a student of procurement. I'm not saying that selling shoes is wrong, but I asked myself, I am a student of procurement. What business do I want to do? Do I want to continue selling the shoes? I said, no. Okay, let me figure out what next I can do. In all these, I was prepping my way into the fashion industry.
Sure.
So I called my former boss. It was a cleaning company that was dealing with some products that I knew how well they were paying, because I was largely dealing with them and I knew how frequently they were being consumed. I called him. I told him I want to supply you with something. Again, please let me not disclose. I want to supply you with something. He said, it's okay as long as you will not steal. For me, the motivating word there, as long as you will not steal.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
motivated
So
me.
he knew that a lot of guys are stealing it.
Yeah. And given I'm a young man that he knows all the way from the village, he was looking out for me, So I went, took him a sample, he approved. And then he gave me an order. That fateful day, I made quite a number of supplies. I remember running all the way from one of the orders was super bright. The other one was tissue paper, because these are things that are largely consumed in a cleaning company.
Exactly.
And multi-purpose soap. I no longer do them, but then those are the things that I started with. I did this, and then I made around 65,000 Kenya shillings.
Nice. So you're starting to come up pretty quickly.
Yes. And with
You had the house.
65,000 Kenya shillings, the first thing that I did was to pay my rent. I paid like 3 months rent
Okay.
upfront. And then I sent my mom money, and she was so shocked. Where did you get the money? I just sent you 300 shillings the other day. Where did you get this much? Then, of course, yeah, that was it. And then now, I was like, okay, I'm a student. I'm now doing this business that I'm doing, the supply of these things. It's now, becoming a little bit frequent on a monthly basis. At least I know that there is some invoice I'm expecting somewhere. But now, how do I get to where I want? That is the key point. So I came and ventured into research writing. Okay, so I could do research for organizations. Then I opened a company, and I opened an office for it. My first office was within the CBD, Kenyatta Avenue, Jean Filian House, fourth floor, room 401A.
Okay.
That was my first office. There's a guy there called Mwongela. Mwongela is a great friend. He was a security guard there.
Nice.
Now here is where I'm meeting the person that is now going to lodge me into the fashion industry. But I met him first as a client, because I never wanted to go into it like I want to invest in this.
Right.
First of all, I wanted to learn the ropes, learn the roots, learn the process, and all that kind of stuff. So then I had a colleague within this office. We were co-sharing with some other colleagues of mine. So I had a colleague called Felix Mambo. So Felix Mambo was a friend to a guy called Bolo. So Bolo comes to Felix in the office. They talk of suits. Then I make an order of 3 suits from Bolo.
Wow.
Okay. I'm making an order of 3 suits from Bolo, but I know what I'm eyeing. I know what I'm targeting. Remember back in college, people used to ask me where I'm getting my khakis. I could go downtown, buy those khakis, bring to them, and then maybe charge them differently so that I can make profits. Okay?
Sure.
Then I make 3 suits from Bolo, and then Bolo sees the passion for suits and fashion in me. He thinks he's seeing it, but I know what I wanted.
So he's gonna.
So he's coming to talk to me, bro, other than just making suits, I think you're passionate about fashion. I'm like, he's a big brand today. It's called Bolo Bespoke. Okay, just equally, just as much as my brand is also big.
Sure.
But we are big in different measures.
Right.
I think he focuses on different things. I also focus on different things, different levels, different fields, different categories. But he's a big brand. He's doing well.
Nice.
Then it tells me I can also be, a fashion designer, a great one for that matter. Little did he know that I had even opted for online trainings from a fashion school in UK. Okay, so I was taking my online studies
Nice.
about fashion and design, color coding, curating, craftsmanship, bespoke tailoring, quality, market management, clientele management, office management, how to be an outstanding fashion designer.
Yeah.
All those. So I teamed up with Bolo. I told him, yeah, I would love to be. My girlfriend then, the mother of my son, got pissed off when I bought the 3 suits. She was like, "You're wasting money." I also need dresses equivalent to that amount. She didn't know what I was up to, but when she finally figured out, then she was like, "Oh, so this is what you're up to? Good stuff. You have my blessings." Now I partnered with Bolo, became his partner. But as I was his partner, I was learning the technical skills from him, because the other ones are online based.
Yeah, he already had the practical.
Yeah, the practical. His tailors was so much of great support. Him himself, he was a great guy of big support. So I learned a lot. I grew my brand. I marketed. Then I approached one of my closest friends, who is our area MP today, and I told him, "Mheshimiwa, me, I want to be a fashion designer." Being an MP who also schooled in the village, but got the exposure in town, he was like, "What do you mean? You've done supply chain management? That's a very lucrative course, banner."
Passive management. We don't know about these things.
Yes. What do you mean you want to be a fashion designer? What do you mean you want to be a tailor? I mean, get your facts together, go think about it, and then come back to me again. I'm like, okay. He's like my go-to person. So like, and also elderly, like my elder brother. So like, I'm like, okay. I go back. I take like 2 weeks. I go back to him. I tell him, you know what? I have decided. Whatever I told you, that is what I want to do. I have decided. And he tells me, okay, so how do you want me to support you? And I told him, I just want you to be my first client. Then he told me, no, Bana, you can't tell me you want to be a tailor and you want me to be your first client. Well, how about you tailor some people first is when you come to me. Then I was at a brink of losing hope because now I've been pushing for market, I've been marketing, been doing all those kind of things online, but I hardly get clients. Okay. Then there is a guy we were with in high school. I also write poems. I'm a poet writer. I'm a poem writer. I'm a poet, in other words. And this guy is also a poet and a reader, big reader, a prolific guy. Likes history. He loves history. He's called Jabez Okumu. So Jabez text me on Facebook Messenger, a very long thread of message. I was at a brink of losing hope, but then Jabez message is a message that I give him. I motivate him. You know,
Very inspiring.
I inspire him. In other words, thanks for that. I inspire him. I motivate him. He sees me, then he remembers that the future is bright, even for people who came from backgrounds like ours, because we share a lot with him. Single mother, single mother. I lost my paps when I was in class 4.
Oh, wow.
So I read this, then I'm like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. James has told me this. And then the following day, then he asked me, can I see you tomorrow? So the following day he sees me, and then he makes an order of 3 suits from me.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The first order that I made was from that my guy called Jabez. He's one of my closest circles, my great friend. Jabez makes this order, I execute, I deliver. He likes them. Now the journey starts. Now I get to be encouraged. Now I sprout. Now I blossom. Now I go into different places. I knock doors. But now my targeted client has always been that person who knows what he wants.
Yeah.
That person who is so specific with the kind of quality and the details of the outfit they want. Someone I can learn from.
Sure.
Someone who can be in a position to tell me, you did not get this right. This is how I want it. Because I'm human and I'm in the learning, I'm in the learning graph, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
Fast forward, now I go back to my friend MP. Then he tells me, okay, I'll give you clients, but not me first. He's still afraid. He's still afraid of me. He's still afraid of me. He gives me a tender to tailor his office staff's suits and corporate shirts, and our local chiefs and assistant chiefs also. So I had to go home. And take their measurements and
That's
tell
a
them.
good starting business, I guess, to get some
Sorry?
clients. It's a good place to start,
Yeah, it was a good place to start. Then I think after some time, my brand also grew, and I came back to Bolo, my friend, and I told him, my brother, we have been together peacefully. My brand has grown. It is now well known, in as much as not stable. But I think I want to try out this thing out by myself. I want to stand alone now, so that we don't confuse 2 different brands in one office.
Right.
He gave me his blessings. He told me, we have been well. You've not disappointed me. I believe I've not disappointed you. If that has happened, I ask for forgiveness. Equally, that's how we parted ways.
So you guys kind of split into 2 different brands now, and he has his brand.
Yes, so
that's
now,
good, and you're
of course,
because of your brand.
Yeah.
And how does that work here in Kenya? I don't know if you call yourself fashion houses or fashion brands. I mean, is there a lot of collaboration between the different brands here in Kenya? Is there a lot of competition?
There's a lot of competition, that's for sure, and there's there is less collaboration.
Yeah, more competition.
More competition than collaborations. I would not. I don't want to lie. I want to call a spade a spade. There is no goodwill in terms of collaborations among fashion houses and brands in Kenya.
Yeah.
Amongst themselves, everyone feels like I am big enough. Everyone feels like I'm big enough. Unlike in the US, there are these people. Like there is this tagline they normally put along called "Men with class," and there is also "Black men wear." I think you've come across them.
Yeah, kind of like a
I don't
know what you call it, consortium or group of designers.
Group of designers, you know. Sometimes they even meet along the streets of Chicago, New York, Texas.
Yeah.
They do what is called crowd marketing.
Yeah.
They're all almost like 50 different fashion brands meeting just for some proper street photography. Different age sets, like young, middle age, old age, youths, you know, all the way.
Yeah.
And just but to speak and to spread the gospel and to market differently, that has not happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
That has not even happened in Africa, leave alone Kenya.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of high voltage of competition in Africa and Kenya, to be specific, than collaboration. I believe if we start collaborating, we would really be in a position to achieve and
Sure. Well, I've seen a lot.
do more great stuffs.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stories about how the secondhand clothing market really hurts custom fashion designers maybe here.
Yes.
Is that correct? Do you see that?
Yes, yes. But you see, so this is it. The mitumba importation affects a lot the tailoring sector, because tailoring sector is like a brand new tailor-made thing, kind of outfit here.
Right.
But it is one sector that is controlling it is very difficult. Again, I want to be honest with that, because you want to stop the importation of mtumba, but you have not stopped the importation of fabrics.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Exactly.
You know, you're not going to make the tailored outfits locally much more affordable as compared to mtumba.
Yeah.
And again, in Kenya and in Africa, there are very many people who live below the dollar.
Sure.
On a daily basis.
Yeah. Price is critical.
Yes. But these people, price is critical for them. And these people do not need to survive on 2 or 3 outfits.
Yeah.
They need change of outfits, maybe for the whole month, for the whole year, for the whole week. Yeah. And Mutumba makes it affordable for them.
Sure.
I am not championing for the Mutumba to keep on blossoming. No. But I am saying the government of the day that we have should really come out. Actually, I had an interview with one of the big media houses, and I mentioned this. It is one of the challenges that we are facing as fashion designers and in the textile industry. We do not have a good political goodwill. We do not have good political goodwill in the fashion sector. Support, much of attention is not paid to the industry. They don't give it the support they need. They don't look at the policies that guides the industry so well.
Sure.
Because this is one of the industries that, again, is pretty much domiciled. It has very many youths in it. Just like the Mutumba industry that we're talking about, the second-hand outfits that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It has employed very many people.
Sure.
So when you want to do away with it, first of all, you have to think of.
And I'm sure the politicians are involved in.
Yeah.
Of course. The whole supply chain.
Of course. That one, definitely they are. And you have to think about when we are doing away with the Mutumba, where are we taking this lot of people that are employed with the Mutumba sector? There are people who are living a decent lifestyle just because of sale of Mutumba outfits, because of sale of imported outfits, second-hand imported outfits. I think, in my opinion, the one that should much and largely be stopped completely is the importation of brand new, not Mutumba, brand new, not second-hand outfits.
Right, brand
new tailored outfits.
Yeah.
You know, we have the potential, we have the capability of making a Manix right from Kenya.
Right.
We have the potential, we have the capability of making a Zopo right from Logical. We have the potential, we have the capability of making Hugo Boss right here in Kenya. Sure. So if we can be in a position to stop those ones, okay, and then we become so much radical in terms of supporting the tailoring sector, the fashion industry, then we ensure that maybe Bolo Bespoke, the Bespoke City brand that I'm talking about, becomes the new Hugo Boss. Logical City that I am here talking about today becomes the new Zopo.
Yeah.
Another company, Cityficial, becomes the new Manix. You know, we have different fashion houses that if well invested in, if well supported, if well given the right requisite much more needed resources, we will be in a position to be in a better place so far as the fashion industry is.
But and what I've noticed is, I don't always buy the most expensive clothes,
Yeah.
but I'll try to buy like a medium price clothes because, okay, now the cheap fabrics, maybe they don't last so well, they're not so good.
Yeah.
But when you get to a certain price point, I feel like for the average clothes, maybe not the suits and everything, but for the average t-shirts, those type of clothes, they're going to be pretty good quality. And these brands that you mentioned, the Hugo Boss or these expensive brands, usually what I've seen is maybe the fabrics are a little nicer, but in general, you're paying for the name.
Basically,
Yeah, so you're
very important that you mentioned that.
Yeah,
Very important that you mentioned that, because as a fashion designer, I've had the luxury to interact with some of these brands at a personal level.
sure.
Some of my clients are very high profile clients.
Yeah.
They travel across the countries, across the world, I mean. Some of them go to Paris, some of them go to Italy, some of them go to UK. They have suits tailored for them there, and they still come back to me to make them to their liking.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I get to interact with them a lot. Well, in as much as I would admit that there is a lot of us, a lot to learn from them, there is also a lot of for them to learn from us.
Yeah.
I think perhaps it's because we're still a little bit extra careful to maintain the status quo and not go the off-board in terms of disappointing the client. But for them, they have achieved the name.
Yeah.
They feel like you going to them, they're doing you a favor.
Sure.
Do you know, for example, Hugo Boss has never mapped Africa as part of their market?
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, they haven't thought about
Louis
it at all.
Vuitton, I don't know whether that's the name. I don't know whether I got the correction, the pronunciation correctly. Louis Vuitton and Gucci.
Yeah.
Those are fashion brands that have never mapped Africa as one of their markets.
Sure.
In fact, I think Dubai, I don't know whether they just have major distributors in Dubai, or I think they just have major distributors in Dubai, but not part of their market.
Yeah.
Largely their market is the other side of the world.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that we as Africans, we are taking ourselves to go, like literally it's like we are knocking a door to give food. It's like you now, conducting charity, come to knock my door to give me food.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask you for that food.
Yeah.
I don't want it, but you're coming to give me that food for free as you seek for something else. Maybe you're seeking for empathy and something like that. So in other words, these big brands only sell names largely, but then the real work is done by, the rest of the side.
Yeah. It's a very tricky thing for the African market, I think, to have these big brand names that you go to sell to the rest of the world, because I think there's still that perception of, a lot of countries in East Africa being developing countries.
Yeah.
And so you have these, big fashion houses in Paris and London and everything. And, it's almost like if they're buying brands from Kenya, let's say, it's almost like a charity thing or something.
Yeah.
So, like the example I made, I'm not saying this about this company particularly, but the one I think of is like the Kazuri beads. So the Kazuri beads, they sell a necklace for maybe, I don't know what they cost, but let's say they could sell one for 10,000 shillings.
Yeah.
In Paris. But the people buying it maybe are just like, oh, I'm sending back to help Africa develop, something. That's, I mean, I don't know I'm sure there's other similar brands, but that's typically the story, which is kind of sad because, that shouldn't be the case. You should be able to take your suit.
That should be
You
the
put it here.
case.
You have, Ralph Lauren. You have these other ones, Hugo Boss. And then your suits here. And it should, you have your unique offering that you're providing.
But I equally think that we have started breaking the ceiling. We have started making a very big, huge impact. First of all, we are even aware that there's an arrangement, not sad, there's an arrangement between African countries and Europe and Asia, AGOA.
Yeah.
African countries, Europe and Asian countries through this program of EPZ.
Yeah.
Where outfits are originally predominantly being made locally here. Here in Kenya, we have several outfits: polo t-shirts, round neck t-shirt,
Yeah.
jeans,
Sure.
denims, and all that kind of outfits. They're being exported. Now, the funny bit, which I don't agree with, is once they've been exported to US, they again get to be rebranded.
Oh, okay.
And then imported back to the country to be sold at, maybe you go to Manix, you get that jeans is now costing around.
Gone to US.
Yeah, and you know, it does not, it's like the value that was added here was not enough. So now it only comes back with some tariff and some custom duties and some name written Manix. Anyway, but we've started breaking ceilings because even in Kenya here today, we have some brands that have started even creating their stores outside, like Vivo, Vivo Wear. I think it's Vivo, if I'm not wrong. They have, actually, our president was in New York for some official visit, and the lady that is managing Vivo was able to open his store in New York City.
Oh, nice.
And that is just but an example that our brands have already started crossing borders and oceans and making, you know, some baby steps in the world market. I will have to also give it up to our vicious and tireless, you know, commitment to making a change, and also speaking, you know, like sounding loud that we are here to make an impact. And also Nigeria as a country in Africa, they are also, their fashion industry is really vibrant. The changes they're making, the improvements they have made, the innovations they've made. How I wish that our government could also follow the suit, because they're largely supported by the government as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I always see is, you know, there's the price and the quality.
Yes.
And if you get the right combination of price and quality, like I said, I don't buy the cheapest thing because maybe the clothes might fall apart. But then, you know, I'm not one to buy the Gucci or these high end things either. But you know, if you have something that's a good price, good quality, then people will buy.
I largely say price is what you pay, but quality is what you get.
Yeah. And it's like there's a diminishing returns, I guess is what I would say.
Yes, yes.
So like maybe I buy whiskeys, you know. Okay, you have a whiskey that cost 3,000 shillings, is pretty good one. Okay, 5,000 better.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you get to like 350,000, okay, no, you know, it's not going to be any that much better than the one that costs 10,000.
Not going to be that much practical.
Yeah, but that much practical. Same thing I think with clothing, right? You know, the difference between the suit that's 100,000 versus the one that's 500,000. I mean, you've got to really be that dignitary type of, to get the 500,000, you've really got to appreciate those fine
those
details.
fine details.
Yeah,
there are people who they don't mind spending on those fine details.
Yeah.
And also the occasions, some people argue that some of the occasions as to why they do suits really matters a lot to them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Occasions like weddings.
Sure.
Occasions
well,
like
you mentioned the specialty.
Yes.
It's a memorable piece of clothing you're going to keep.
Yeah.
I remember we kept my wife's wedding dress in the wardrobe for 10 years, maybe something. She was never going to wear it again, but we kept it.
And after 10 years, what did you do with it? Is it
a
a white gown?
Yeah, it was one of those white fancy ones. And in the US, the problem is you have to resell it, you have to clean the dress. And the cleaning of the dress costs, I don't know the numbers, but it's probably at least 20,000 Kenya shillings to clean the dress. In the US.
Okay. And how much are you gonna sell it at?
Well, we could probably resell the dress at maybe 30,000-40,000. So
you used 20,000 to clean it.
Well, what we did is we decided. I was telling my wife, I was like, okay, we can go and clean it, and then come back, and we could make 20,000. That's good, but I just said, well, why don't we just donate it to somebody who would be wanting to dress more, and then tell them, here's that we'll donate it to you, and then they worry about the cleaning, everything.
But
So
initially, how much did it cost? I'm
uh,
just
I
trying to
think
figure out something.
yeah, I think it was about a $60,000. I'm not 60,000 Kenya shilling dress. Yeah.
How much was your suit?
My suit. The suit, I just rented the suit. So in the US, when the men for the wedding, we usually rent the suits because they're so expensive. And so I probably had to pay, 20,000 Kenya shillings to rent the suit for the, for the day. But, it's a very fancy one. Which,
Which could have costed like how much?
oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it was, I'm sure it was probably 100,000, 150,000 suit, maybe not the fanciest one, but they're expensive.
So, having this suit in your wardrobe is like renting it.
Yeah.
So just imagine if you could have spent that 100,000 and then you have that suit in your wardrobe for
Yeah.
the entire time. You could still put it on.
Yeah.
It could be a sentimental thing to you.
Mhm.
Whenever you had like romantic dates
Yeah,
after
sure.
the
Yeah,
wedding, maybe anniversaries and all that kind of
sure.
stuff. Here's the thing. Most of the times, I tell this to most of my grooms and my clients who comes to me as couples.
Yeah.
Most of the times we end up spending a lot of money on ladies' gowns than
Mhm.
the suits that we wear as
Yeah.
men.
Yeah.
That is where we start going wrong.
Yeah.
That is where we start not choosing on.
Yeah, the ladies' gown's expensive.
Yes. I mean, I'm not saying that we have to compete with the ladies to make how expensive they're gonna spend, so we reciprocate the same on our side. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the same way you are so meticulous with them spending,
Yeah.
be meticulous on you also
Yeah.
spending and having something good for you, because it's not just her day, it's also your day.
Yeah.
And it is a one in a lifetime day,
Yeah.
such that. And it's something that, like, for example, you had me saying some suit that is going to have some branding,
Yeah.
so and so,
Like
wet, so and so. That kind of a suit is a suit that you can just afford to have on the wardrobe.
Uh-huh.
Whether you are not putting it on, whether you're putting it on, you look at it, you remember the days you said, yes, I do.
Yeah. No, I mean it's definitely a really good thing. And yeah, maybe there's also a pretty, I wonder if there's that business here of renting suits that we have. That's a big business in the US.
Yeah, a friend of mine, they were supposed to be doing the wedding over here locally,
Mhm.
but due to, I think it was COVID or
Yeah.
something like that, happened, and then he had just gotten a new job and he could not be given frequent offs
Mhm.
to come all the way down here.
Right.
And he had just come almost like a period of 6 months, so he had to do the wedding over there. So he had to rent a suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get to hear that is in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So I get to hear that it is quite of a big business over there.
Uh-huh.
Locally, here in Nairobi, I haven't heard of
Haven't
people
heard of
renting
rentals.
suits.
Yeah.
If they're there, I don't know where they are. I don't think. But again, also our market is quite
Yeah.
uncouth
Yeah.
with
They're
renting suit.
handcrafted business. Yeah.
Someone
You
would come.
can't be. Well, that's the
So,
problem when you rent the suits and they're used by the teenagers for the
yeah,
dances and things,
yes,
and they come
yes.
with
They
the
come up
vomit
and
and the
it's
alcohol.
on and it's
So
smelling and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So it's
So
like, but personally, I think, the kind of suits that I'm making are not even up for rentals.
yeah, exactly. Not
Yeah,
the type
they're
you would rent. They're
yes,
more of a
yes,
handcrafted thing.
yes, yes.
All right, cool. Well, any last kind of parting words you'd like to give the young guys that are out there, maybe wanting to get into your business, or to kind of, even if it's not the suit business, kind of going on this entrepreneurial journey to live out their dreams?
Um, Entrepreneurial journey, last parting shot, simple. There is no success without failure.
Hmm. Yeah.
Accept failure. By accepting failure, you will be accepting success. But it depends with which kind of failure you're accepting. Are you affecting failure that is constant, or you are affecting failure that is a learning process? Failure that is constant is failure that is brought about by laziness, just being there, not doing anything, sleeping, and not working on you. But failure that is as a result of trial, you are trying to make something and you fail on it and you keep on. A story is told of how bulbs were innovated. The guy who innovated bulbs had failed almost, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And at the brink of giving up, then it worked. So there is no success story that can be written without an entire chapter of failure. Yeah, so that's number one. Just for people who might be thinking that I should be doing it this way and it should go correct from the word go. No, it cannot go correct from the word go. Even me, at some point, I had to close down my office. It's a long story that we could not finish, maybe some other time again. But I was headed to there. I had to close down my office. I had to go to be like, you know what? I have closed down the office, but I've not closed down the business. The business is in me. The blueprint is in me. I have the journey. I have the blueprint. I have the idea. So then here I am again today, having more than 13 employees working behind me from closing the office. So there is no success story that can be written without a whole chapter of failure. That's number one. Number two, um, believe in yourself. That is very important, because before anyone believes in you, you have to show them that you believe in yourself actually. If I don't show you the confidence of me believing in myself, you can't believe in me, you know. So believe in yourself. And then number three, interrogate what you want to get into. Learn the craft, know the thing. Don't just go into it because people are there and they kind of making decent life out of it or a living out of it. This one I'm saying specifically because I see very many young people coming into fashion industry without even knowing what it tells, what it entails, what it takes. You know, they're just like designer A B is driving car AC, designer A B is living this kind of lifestyle. I think this is also the easiest way for me to live a lifestyle. Let me start selling suits. And you come into selling suits, you end up becoming a con, you end up becoming someone, to avoid such kind of cases, just assess whatever you want to do, know yourself, know whether it is something that matches with what you want, and do what you're passionate about. When you're doing it out of passion, the focus will not be in making money. The focus will be in, making yourself satisfied with the fact that you're doing something that you are much more well acquainted with and you're passionate with. You will not feel like passion driven activities are never like slavery. They're never like punishments.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds really great. Well, thanks, Dustin. I think we're about at time, but it's been great having you on the podcast. And anything else you want to cover before we end today?
You mentioned it's the podcast, so let me just
Yeah.
steal an opportunity to
Yes.
at least market with the with
Yes.
your
That's all
audience.
about your where people can find you, where
Yeah,
they can find your
yeah.
contact you.
We have social media handles, and also reaching me is also very easy. You can as well call me directly through a number 0727 678 190. That's my personal number. You can always reach me through that to make business inquiries, to make maybe orders, to make maybe book an appointment with me. But our social media handles are also there. Like on Instagram, we are called Logical City. That's the brand of the company.
Logical City, like all one word.
Yes, one word. It will pop the first name.
Yeah.
Even if you just key it on Google search, it would pop the same thing. Facebook, Logical City, Twitter, Logical Clothing.
And people can see your clothes there,
Yes,
samples.
almost samples, past projects,
Yeah.
maybe upcoming projects that are coming, measurements that have been taken for the upcoming projects and all that kind of stuff. They're all there. And on TikTok, Logical City, they're all there. So those are areas that people can also interact with me more.
All right. Well, great. Well, everybody be sure to go and check out Logical City. Try get yourself set up for some upcoming events. Get the boardroom suits, the
Yeah,
just casual work suits. Well, I
yes,
mean, I'm sure that Nelson here can get you set up, and
yeah,
we really would approve of his product. So go check it out. I think you'll really enjoy everything.
good stuff.
Okay. Thank you,
Asante,
Nelson. Well,
asante sana.
yeah, Sante.
You know that one?
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, by
Yes.
the way.
Thank